The cranial part of the embryo contains a series of arteries that run through the so-called pharyngeal arches. These arteries are called aortic arches. From their primitive arrangement, they are undergoing significant remodeling, the result of which gives form to many arteries of the head and neck region. Let's start with the heart tube, and we know that we have the ventral aorta and then the dorsal aorta. Now the blood comes there via several arteries that are numbered and labeled from the cranial pole to the caudal direction. So that was the first, second, third vascular arch, fourth vascular arch. Now the fifth does not develop in human, but for the sake of the consistency of the counting when comparing with other vertebrates, it is still numbered. And then we got the sixth arch. So these are aortic arches number 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth does not develop at all, and sixth. This is the heart tube. And these are the aortic arches before remodeling. Before the remodeling. This will be the dorsal aorta. Dorsal aorta. Now the first arch gives rise. Most of it disappears. However, the artery that persists is known as the maxillary artery. The second arch, also most of it disappears, but the one that persists is known as the Stapedial Artery. And if you ever wondered why the stapes, one of the auditory ossicles, has this window above the base, that's where the Stapedial Artery runs through that window. Stapes. The third arch grows significantly, and it forms the common carotid artery and the proximal part of the internal carotid artery. These first three arches develop in a symmetrical way. So the shape on the right and left side, or the fate on the right and left side, are the same. However, starting with the fourth arch, we need to distinguish the fate on the right versus on the left side. So on the left, the fourth arch forms the aortic arch in the narrow sense of the word. That's the one you know from anatomy, the one from the ascending aorta, the arch, and the descending aorta. That's actually the fourth arch. And on the right, it forms the right subclavian artery. As we know, the fifth is not formed at all, therefore no arteries are derived from that. The sixth, again, on the left, it forms the left pulmonary artery plus a vascular connection called the ductus arteriosus. On the right side, the sixth arch forms the right pulmonary artery. So this was the lateral view. And it was the view on one side only, so a symmetrical situation would be on the other side. Should we use the frontal view? Before and after remodeling. So this is what you would see. You would see the aorta. So in a simplified form, this will be the first aortic arch, the second, the third, and the fourth. The first, second, third, and the fourth. Let's label the structures. By the way, this will be the right side, and that's the left one. Okay, sorry, it's the frontal view. Aortic arches number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the ventral aorta. This will be the unified dorsal aorta. There will be also some segmental branches. And let me add the fifth, which is rudimentary, fifth arch that does not develop, and the sixth. Okay. 4 on the left side, second, first. So before the remodeling, the blood is flowing through these arches. After remodeling, we got a different pattern. So there will be the carotid complex on the right side, on the left side, the internal carotid artery, the common carotid artery, now the aortic arch, or the arch of aorta, let us say. And the pulmonary trunk. So this is the aorta, this is the pulmonary trunk. The first arch persists as the maxillary artery. The second as the subclavian, stapedial. Then we got the common carotid. On the right side, on the left side, the internal carotid artery. Again, the internal here will be the right subclavian. Yeah, this was the third. This was the fourth on the right side. On the left side, the fourth turns to be the arcus aortae, the aortic arch. And this is already this descending aorta. And this will be the originally sixth arch. And finally, we got, after some more change of proportions and transformation, we got this ascending aorta, the aortic arch with the brachiocephalic trunk, the right brachiocephalic trunk, branching into the right subclavian and to the right common carotid arteries. Then we got a left common carotid artery and the left subclavian artery. And the descending aorta, not forgetting the pulmonary trunk, the branches to the right, a pulmonary artery. Then there is a vascular connection known as the ductus arteriosus, which connects the pulmonary trunk with the aortic arch. And then we got the left pulmonary artery. So here is the output of the left ventricle, the root of aorta, the aortic arch, that persists on the left side only, and the descending aorta. The aortic arch has the following branches: the right brachiocephalic trunk, that divides into the right subclavian artery and the right common carotid artery. Then this will be the left common carotid artery and the left subclavian artery. The output of the right heart ventricle goes to the pulmonary trunk, which divides into the right pulmonary artery and the left artery, and the connection between the pulmonary trunk and the aortic arch called the ductus arteriosus. Which after birth, which is only a temporary connection, that after birth is spastic, and then it's turned to a fibrous cord called ligamentum arteriosum. So why do we actually care about all this? This is to demonstrate in a very simplified version that the arteries of the head and neck and the upper thoracic region undergo significant remodeling, which might go wrong or might be a source of important anatomical variations among the individuals. So you'll find in real patients you'll find different branching patterns here in that region, because that's the outcome of the extensive remodeling.